The function f of x equals x squared minus 5 is defined for the negative 3 is going to be less than x, is going to be less than negative 1. So you live on the interval negative 3 to negative 1. Now, just for funsies, right, this is what it's going to look like. X squared minus 5 is going to live down here. Okay? We only care about the part that lives in between here and here. So, I don't know, like here and here we'll say. We only care about that part. All right, now, which means whenever I figure out the next thing, which is which one of these defines the inverse for which values, I'm flipping this and reflecting it along the side. So what's going to happen is this guy is going to be a mirror image that's going to look like this. Okay, so I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with that. Now, that doesn't really matter. What matters is, first things first, I'm told that x has to be in between negative 3 and negative 1. So let's go to f of x and see what happens at negative 3 and see what happens at negative 1. So f of negative 3 is going to be negative 3 squared minus 5. Negative 3 squared is 9. 9 minus 5 is 4. So f of negative 3 is 4. That gives us a point on the f of x function of negative 3, positive 4. I'll explain why that matters in a little bit. Now, f of negative 1 is going to be negative 1 squared minus 5, which is 1 minus 5, which is negative 4. So that gives us the point negative 1, negative 4 on f of x. Now, that is going to help me answer this part of the problem. I still need to answer this part of the problem. So this part of the problem has me finding the inverse of f of x. So to find the inverse of f of x, I don't like looking at f of x. I like to call it y. So step number 1 for me is always replace the f of x with y because it just looks prettier. Step number 2 is going to be swap the x and the y. So you are now x equals y squared minus 5. Now we solve for the new y. So we add 5, x plus 5 is x plus 5, they don't combine, and you end up equaling y squared. Now in order to get y all by itself, you square root both sides. That allows you to cancel out. If you square root both sides to solve, you have to attach the positive or negative. So that leaves us with y equals positive or negative x plus 5, and we can finally put this back into its f of x form and say the f inverse of x is equal to positive or negative x plus 5. Here's the issue. We care about the negative x values, which means we're not going to care about both positive or negative square root of x plus 5. Since we were dealing with the negative side, our inverse is only going to care about the negative side as well. So that's going to be our equation. That's the inverse. Now we care about the x values for the inverse. If f gave you these points, then f prime is going to be the flip-flop version of these points. So the flip-flop version of these points are going to be negative 3, 4, nope, 4, negative 3. And negative 1, negative 4, nope, negative 4, negative 1. Flip-flop the x and the y. That's why we swap x and y at the very beginning. Now, if I care about the x values, I care about magic happening between negative 4 and positive 4. So all the fun stuff is going to happen between negative 4 is less than x is less than regular 4. So my final answer is going to be f inverse of x equals negative square root of x plus 5, and that's going to be valid for all x values between negative 4 and positive 4. The answer is A.